I thought it'd be funny if I like did a little dumb Microsoft Paint shit in my videos for like the background. I I don't think it's that funny to anybody except for me. So. Handheld gaming is one of the most beloved subsections of the video game industry. Millions of kids have poured hours upon hours of their time in car trips and family vacations into all of your Game Boys, and your Game Boy Advances, and your Game Boy Colors, and your Game Boy Pockets, and your Game Boy Lights, and your Game Boy Advance SPs, and if you're gross, your PSPs. However, it seems as though this shared love of handheld gaming isn't always shared by the actual developers of these video games. Now, for every great innovative experience, there's about 50 crappy, half-assed license games or ports of console games that just don't work on inferior hardware. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Sully, throw up a picture of the fucking Street Fighter Game Boy game. Look at that. That's disgusting.
Speaking of lazy handheld gaming, in 1990, Sega released the Sega Game Gear. Now, the Game Gear actually, in many ways, was better than its rival Game Boy, which was released the previous year in 1989. It had an actual backlight, and it was in full color. However, there was one downside. It didn't have any games. Yeah, only 37 games were Game Gear exclusives. Pretty much everything else was poorly done ports of Genesis games. And let me tell you, when 5% of your exclusive game library is Coca-Cola Kid and Popeye's Beach Volleyball, yeah, you're kinda fucked. So, if you're Sega in the 90s, what would you do? Would you invest in high-quality exclusive games from iconic franchises using your superior handheld graphical power?
Well, obviously not. That'd be insane.
This is where everybody's favorite blue monstrosity, Sonic, comes in. Sonic has a couple exclusive releases, and the first one we're going to be looking at is Sonic Drift.
And before you give me crap about not owning a Game Gear, can I ask you this question? What would I look like if I owned a Game Gear?
Now, Sonic Drift is a racing game likely rushed out to rival Super Mario Kart. You actually couldn't play this game in the US until Sonic Adventure DX on the GameCube came out. This game was originally a Japanese exclusive, and American port was planned, but was cancelled because of the game's quality. Too bad for America? I'm kind of impressed. Well, I played it, and it sure is a Sega Game Gear racing game. There isn't really that much to it. The track layout is bland, and everything is mostly just like glorified circles, which, when you compare that to Mario Kart, where the tracks are actually somewhat themed to the Mario franchise at the time, is really disappointing, because, I mean, the first couple Sonic Genesis games have, like, some wild locations. That'd be really fun for a good kart racing type game. But the controls are really bad. Turning in this game is so slippery, it's as though your car has no weight to it. You have to be so precise with the turns as well. Slightly too soon, you're fucked. Slightly too late, you're fucked. Time it perfectly, and you got a 50-50 chance of getting fucked. There's only 4 playable characters, which is honestly fine given the roster of Sonic IPs at the time. There were a few power-ups. You got an invincibility and a speed boost. That's it. No stage hazards or real barriers in your way. The game is just holding down and going and turning. And in this series, this is clearly the worst game we've played so far. Besides the music being decent, I got nothing left to say about this game. It's not god-awful, but just feels like an empty time killer. And that's my problem with a lot of the Game Gear library. There's no real games with substance, you know? You don't have that big, that, like the Game Boy had, Zelda and Mario on it. This console just really doesn't have that. Everything is just like mindless, almost like the predecessor to mobile games, like just mindless distractions you're supposed to play like once then never again. So I'm gonna give Sonic Drift a 2 out of 9. After the success of Sonic 2, the development team at Sonic split into American division and a Japanese division. The Japanese team would go on to make the next mainline Sonic game with Sonic 3, while the American company they had to make Sonic Spinball.
This is one point that America will never get back.
Apparently, the idea of a Sonic Spinball came from a user survey that showed that players really enjoyed Casino Night Zone, partially because of the bumper mechanics and the pinball-inspired level design. This is kind of dumb. It's like if Nintendo thought, oh, people like the DK rap from Donkey Kong 64, so let's just make a rhythm game. Oh no. They did do that. Oh no. So the game is really janky. The physics feel off. It's not always clear what you're supposed to do or where to go. The music and graphics also look just kind of weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but for a series known for beautiful pixel art and great music, this game is lacking both those aspects. On second thought, it's probably the fact that I'm playing an old-ass Game Gear game on a blown up on a PC screen, but I don't know. Sonic's proportions they just don't look right in this. Honestly, I really dislike this game, simply because of the physics and the controls. See, I'm a person who needs to have great controls in my video games. If I play a hard game that's only hard because I find myself actively fighting with the controller, I'm not gonna like it. The reason why this game is so bad is that the physics aren't consistent. Sometimes Sonic will bounce off random walls, and sometimes he just drops like a rock. Momentum just doesn't work right, leading to annoying deaths. I mean, this is a franchise that figured out how to do momentum-based gaming in the first one, and it seems like we've taken a step back. It just doesn't work, right? Leading to annoying deaths that only happen because Sonic just didn't do what he's supposed to. These problems don't exist in actual pinball machines because those are obviously following real physics. So why not just play a pinball machine? See, pinball video games have always been really weird to me because the whole appeal of actual pinball is the physical aspect, you know, pulling back on the lever and launching the ball, the sound effects, the satisfying impact when you hit the ball. None of the fun parts of pinball are really ever present in video game versions. I really just spent essentially a 2-page essay complaining about a Sonic pinball game for the Game Gear. This is my reality. I'll give it a 3 out of 9. Alright, so the last game we're going to be talking about today is a fucking wild one. So you guys know Puyo Puyo, right? It's an iconic Japanese puzzle game franchise that's been going around for decades now. So Sega didn't think that this famous game would work well for Western audiences, so they slapped a bunch of Sonic characters onto the game. Did I say a bunch of Sonic characters? No, they just took the villain, Dr. Robotnik, and just slapped him on the marketing for the game, which is really weird, and renamed it to his Mean Bean Machine. And don't worry, it gets weirder. The characters in the game that you fight in puzzle battles are all characters from the Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure cartoon series, which is a whole nother can of worms that we're gonna duct tape close, kick it so far down the road that I might get signed as an NFL kicker. In the actual game, they didn't even change the design of the Puyo Puyos. It's the same thing. They didn't change it. What? The entire marketing and idea and philosophy behind this game makes no sense to me. Just put Puyo Puyo on Sega Genesis, for Christ's sake. I guess I should actually talk about the gameplay. It's Puyo Puyo, which means it's good. 6 out of 9. I guess that was a lot of overly dramatic discussion for a game that's just Puyo Puyo. The music is really good. That's about it, really. Well, that's all the Sonic my brain can physically take. Next time we'll be tackling the franchise. We'll be taking on Sonic 3, and also Knuckles. So, tune in for that, and you guys should really stop caring about my opinions. I am the same guy who thinks that Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine so far has been the second best game in the franchise, so take that as you will.